Hey, Scott, thank you. Do I need to present? Am I already presenting?
You are presenting. We see your screen.
Okay, I didn't know if I needed to click a button or not. Hello, traders, and welcome to my desktop. This is kind of my maiden voyage, so take it easy on me. We're going to have a little fun today. The market in general, there's not a whole lot to talk about as far as the overall market movement. We'll get into that, but may do something a little bit different today is with if we have extra time, and that is to get you guys more involved. So we'll talk about that in just a bit, but first let's go over our agenda for today. And what we'll do first is the market recap like we always do, and
Hey,
talk about the
Andy.
side. Yes,
Hey, real quick here, unless I'm really losing my mind, did you do the disclaimer? We probably need to do that real quick here just to make
I
it a
was
little
going
more.
to. Okay, no problem. I was going to do that next. I was going to go over the agenda and then do that, but I will go ahead and do that.
Oh,
Good,
yeah.
good point.
Hey,
No
no
problem.
worries. No
Good
worries.
point. Okay, all right. It looks like I better do this first, guys. The disclaimer. Just keep in mind, guys, this webinar is for educational purposes only. Nothing you hear here should be construed as any type of advice to buy or sell equities or any other instrument. If you need advice, go to your pros, and yeah, we're here to have fun and make money. So thank you, Jamie, for reminding me of that. And back to the agenda. We're going to talk about the market and how it's just been kind of going sideways for a couple of weeks, just setting up for this jobs numbers, it looks like. Then we're going to talk about, do the Holly recap. And then I'm going to talk about price alerts with a different, kind of a different little twist to it, with a little Jesse Livermore quote involved in that. Then I'm going to show you alert that I've basically been using for I would say 10 years, and it's a very simple alert. It's a momentum alert. I think a lot of you guys have got it when I was moderating in the chat room when Barry was on vacation, but it's not a whole lot to it, but a lot of time it can help you catch the quick ones, the momentum stocks really early. So we'll show that one and, of course, share that with you. And then I'd like to take some time. A lot of time we use up all the time and we don't really get you guys involved, and so we're going to open it up for Q&A, and also what Steve and I used to do when we were with Today Trader. I guess we still are part of Today Trader, but when we used to do our webinars, we would look at charts. A lot of people have ideas out there of what they looking at charts, maybe thinking about taking a trade and would want some advice from somebody else. Well, me and Jamie will take a look at them and give you our thoughts on how they look technically, and that's a lot of fun sometimes. So in that way, we can others can jump in and get involved, and just kind of gets interaction going in the webinar. Okay, with that being said, let's move on to the market recap, and I'm going to make sure I don't do anything to lose my screen here because I got to. All right, Jamie, am I still good as far as seeing my screen? Jamie's not answering me, so I better go back in here
Sorry
and
about
see.
that. I had my
Okay,
my mute button
okay,
pressed, and I was
no.
talking to myself. But you're coming. Yeah, I can see you perfectly, Andy.
Okay, perfect. Okay, just wanted to make sure, yeah, because when I minimize that. All right, guys, let's take a look at the spiders, and oh boy, it's sounding like a broken record, but here we are. I think this wick, I'm not seeing the spiders actually go down that low today. As I pull over my 15-minute chart over here that I always keep running statically on my other screen, it's showing on my daily chart a low of 214.25, but I am not seeing that, and I think that was an erroneous tick there on the daily. But nonetheless, we ended up right smack dab in the middle of this range we've been in now for a good 2 weeks, and lo and behold, what's on the docket tomorrow? We have the jobs number. So you know it's the middle of summer, the dog days of summer they call it. The volume is very light. although we do still have some earnings coming out, they're slowing down, and there's just not a whole lot of reason to be getting excited, either way. We're going to see what happens tomorrow. If we the last jobs numbers was a really good one, but the one before that was a really weak one. So it's going to be interesting. Could be some fireworks in the morning. My advice for those momentum and intraday traders out there, of course, the number will come out in pre-market, so you'll have a good hour to digest, it fundamentally and listen to all the talking heads on CNBC. But I would even give it, typically on the Jobs Friday, I may give it 30 minutes of live action before I'll do anything. And if I do, I'm usually just watching my alerts and not, I'm not saying not pay attention to the market in general, but I've gotten in such a habit to trading the alerts that it's just my bread and butter. So I will still focus on that. But obviously, it's going to be interesting to see if we can close inside this range again tomorrow, because if that happens, man, it could be a long rest of the summer. So hopefully after tomorrow we may get a break to the upside, or maybe a nice little pullback, to this range, maybe set up and do some backing and filling going sideways, and then try for another move higher. But as a trader, no matter whether you're a momentum trader or you're a swing trader, it makes it very difficult when you get in these tight ranges. So we do want to see something soon. Otherwise, like I said, it could be a long summer. Do you have any other thoughts on this, Jamie? I'm sure you want to add something.
Well, no matter who I talked to as of late, Andy, including you before this webinar started, we're kind of chuckling, back and forth, because here we are again. Same old song, same old dance for how many days now? And you're right. When the market gets into this tight range, there's just not a lot to be had. And the candle that closed today out kind of tells the story. That was a whoosh down. Sellers tried to take control. They did push it through some of the pain levels. Probably flushed a lot of people out of the trees, shook loose all the stop losses, and then whisked it right back up, as we can see from that candle pattern. So it's, until we get out of this range, it's going to be, it's going to be a replay. It's like the Truman Show, right? So, kind of the same every day. Some days it's going to be an updraft. Some days it's going to be a downdraft. But until something happens to pop us out of this range, we just have to expect the same old moving forward.
Yep. I totally agree. I mean, I mentioned in the webinar with Steve yesterday, I know a lot of bears probably got excited just for the little dips we've had below this. We broke down above that range, but once again, frustrating them popping right back up. And I tell you what, that close today, you can, you talk about a mean, just right in the middle, pretty much. These two bars here. So. Yeah, tomorrow hopefully we'll break out one way or the other, break down or break out. We'll see. Time will tell. But let's move on. Our job is to react, not so much predict. So it's enough of that, and let's move on. And I believe we had next on the docket is the Holly recap. So let's go into the Holly recap. And today was a down day for Holly. We can pull this up and let me expand it a little bit for you. And we had our risk off, which finished down 226, and we had our risk on finished down a 515. Now, I am not going to have to defend Holly too much because she's been on a heck of a run. I mean, you look at today's action in the spiders, the intraday, just going right back over here, and you can see where a lot of people, got fooled, very sloppy, including Holly. This is definitely a risk-off day. The market opened up, rolled over to lows, went to highs, got back close to lows again. When you start seeing that kind of action, just almost 30 minutes into the day, I mean, it's almost telling me it's a risk-off day. And risk off, she was still down 226. But you know what? Like I said, I don't really feel like I have to defend Holly. It's I was telling Jamie in our prep, that yeah, it's almost a relief. It's telling me that she can make mistakes. Uh,
Right, and Andy, if you see the little flashing dot down there, you may just want to
mhm.
pull up the performance chart, give everybody a peek at what it still looks like even after today. But I agree with you 100%. I mean, she's been on such a tear as of late that it was kind of surreal. And not only have you said the same thing, myself,
Where do I have that?
even Dan this morning was like, it's kind of a relief to see a losing day come because, you know, too much of a good thing. Of course, is there too much of a good thing when it comes to trading profits? No. But just like any system out there, it will have its losing days, and today was one of those days. But the gap has never been wider between Holly and the S&P. So, we'll see what tomorrow yields.
No, sorry about that. You guys know now that I have a little dog. Yeah.
Is that your
Uh,
analyst?
oh yeah, that's my protector right there. Yeah, that's a very good point, Jamie. And like I said, when I see a slope like this, yeah, I don't have to apologize for Holly today. We will look at some of the trades and see if there was a trade around. I think Jamie may have saw a little one there, but that being said, it's been an incredible run with a little blip today. So we'll see what tomorrow and going forward brings. But man, I've been totally impressed with her action of late. So uh, that
And
being
Andy,
said, Jamie, did you?
if you
I'm sorry.
let's take a look at the strategies tab today because I think the strategies that did the worst were we had one short that didn't do too well, one short strategy,
Oh,
and it was kind of an equally split between the losses today. We had one long and one short. So, when you see Holly firing longs and shorts and still ending up in the red, that's a perfect testament to tell you what kind of day it was. It was statistically noisy, and when it's statistically noisy, the statistical models don't do as well as they do when there's not a definite, you know, trend.
absolutely. But look at Alpha Predator. Even though with today's noise, still had a 66.7 winning percentage rate today, and looks like that was on 9 trades. So Alpha Predator has been the workhorse lately, and it's one of our newest strategies, and it's working itself up the ladder of success, isn't it, Jamie? I mean,
It is.
uh,
I've been, a couple of days. It went 8 for 8 one day, then close to 100%, if not 100% the next day. And the interesting thing about Alpha Predator, and I'm sure that all of you long-term, medium-term users out there probably have that window, so you know what I'm talking about already. For those of you that are new, maybe you're not subscribers currently, and you might be going, well, what in the world is this Alpha Predator? It started life as what we call a top list. Within Trade Ideas, we have alert windows and top lists. So Alpha Predator started, a little history lesson here, started off as Top Predator. It was configured and produced by our CEO, Dan Mergen. Kept refining it. And I'm like, I think a more apt name would be Alpha Predator. So we changed the name, we changed the configuration, and then eventually it was producing such stellar plays off of the open that we incorporated it into the strategy base of Holly. And after Holly, works her numbers on it and her back test and her optimizations after, folding in every day's data, that statistical model that we know as Holly is also confirming what we already thought and probably knew, but there was no guarantee. She's only reiterating that window is stellar because we've got over 40 strategies in the hopper base, or the base hopper now. So they all get processed, and only the ones that make that minimum score appear in the starting team for the next day. And Alpha Predator has been making the team pretty consistently. So when that happens, we have to pay attention.
absolutely. Absolutely. And speaking of Alpha Predator, real quick, I know we talk a lot about it lately, but I do want to go over a few charts today because this is at right as the bell opened up. On you can see on our timeline there. I still, even though I moved to Texas, I still have my time on California. But anyway, it's right at the bell, and let's just look at some of a few of the alerts that came through. The first one we look at is Depot here. And you will see on the 5-minute chart, the alert went off at a price of 1980. So that's basically right here. Nice movement. You can see the relative volume of 42, percent. You can see the stock splits, relative active, tweets. It's just if you have Alpha Predator up and you see this come up, you see the relative volume, you see the interest out there on the interest on stock twits. Boy, you can make your decision pretty quick, even if you're only playing a few hundred shares, because you buy this thing, say you don't get it until 20, it still runs to a high of the day of 21.38, so that's $1.38 right there. I'm not saying you're going to buy it at 20 and sell it there, but anyway. Some nice action there, and that's what Alpha Predator does. Okay, it preys on alpha, and and she's been really good at finding it lately. Depot is one example here. Another one would be GoGo. Let's take a look at GoGo. Early in the morning, and the alert went off at 9:08. Which would have been right in here. You would have had to suffered a little bit of pullback if you didn't sell it around 9:20, but nothing real painful. It got as low as 8.95, so you're only talking about 13 cents there. And then boom, you had a nice little move, all the way up to 9.78. So once again, she found some nice alpha there. Once again, nice relative volume. For those of you guys who are not familiar with relative volume, basically at 31, this was saying it's trading 31% at this time of day. It's trading 31 times. Am I correct by saying 31 times its normal volume, or is it 310, Jamie? Sometimes I get that confused with the 5-minute, but anyway.
Make my little screen a little bigger. Yeah. So the relative volume, relative volume, a metric of
It's
1
ratio, right?
means
It's
the
a
stock's
ratio.
on pace to do normal. So yeah, that was a relative volume of 103 at the time.
Okay, gotcha.
But of course, everybody needs to keep in mind that's in the first 5 minutes when
Right.
the floodgates open, and after the first 15, 30 minutes, then the floodgate turns into a nice trickling river. So therein lies the peril of trading the open. You can either get washed out, or you can make a pile, as long as you know where to go and how to hold on.
Mm-hmm. And the last one we want to look at is XL. And XL went off at 9:30. Sorry, 10:27, which is right about here. So straight line up. The only pullback you got there was 10:31, which is above the alert, which I said at 9:27, and then boom, a nice little move here through 11 all the way up to 11:46. So we do like to continue, guys, to direct your attention to Alpha Predator, because there's some it's finding some incredible moves out there, and it's for those of you guys who've maybe your first webinar. A lot of people out there, they want to play the Apples and Microsofts and the Facebooks. And you know what? There's times when it's right to play those, but if they're not nothing news-driven or volume-driven, nothing that's really moving the stock, why? Because when there's all these stocks out there that this software can find for you, it finds the alpha for you, and all you got to do is have your eyes open. Let those who have eyes see. So anyway, just wanted to bring up Alpha Predator because she's still pretty much killing it. But you know what? We have talked a lot about momentum trading. We've talked a lot about Alpha Predator, and we had a guy in the chat room, I believe it was yesterday, saying, "Hey, do you guys ever, mention anything?" What am I doing there? For those guys who work and don't are not able to watch the market all the time. So I kind of wanted to spend some time on price alerts today, and because I think these could be used for pretty much any type of investing. But for me, I think price alerts are better for what I like to call position trading. Position yourself, positioning your trade in a very good risk-reward situation. And I've actually left my price alerts up since I believe it goes back to July 1st. Let me go to time here. Yeah, goes back to July 1st. So I kind of want to leave that up. I'm going to sort by profit, and we're going to take a look at a few of these because of all these alerts I put in here, there are some down ones, but the most part they're up on the day. I'm up 89.2 points when all these alerts combined. I'm not saying that I traded all these alerts, traded a few, but I price alerts, and I know you've heard of Steve and Jamie talking about it before. They give you a real good idea of what your eyes are seeing, where your possible entry points may be, and because if you hit these right, you can really. Dan is really good about doing this. He'll take an entry and he knows it's a good entry, and he'll let it work for him for days, for weeks, for sometimes months, and I want to let people know even though we focus a lot on intraday momentum trading, there's a ton of money to be made on getting a position and holding it, over time, even if it's 100 shares. So take this for example. If you only played 100 shares on every one of my alerts, you made $9,000 in a month. That's just on 100 shares. So imagine the wiggle room you could, as far as your risk tolerance on 100 shares. You can, in other words, you may buy a stock, and if you're looking to make $10 on it, you can maybe possibly risk $3 on the downside. So it gives you a lot more room if you're playing small size and letting these things work for you. So I'm just kind of want to go. Jesse Livermore. Let's see if I do this right. How do I get back to the? There we go. Everybody on here probably has heard of Jesse Livermore. He's a boy plunger, great trader back in the early 1900s. He's got just, so many quotes that are still prevalent today and are still used today. And one of the things he's quoted as saying is, "Buy right and sit tight." Men who can both be right and sit tight are uncommon, and that's true, because for the most part, we're programmed to fear when we should be hoping, and to hope when we should be fearing. In other words, we are programmed when a stock goes in our favor we're programmed to fear it's going to turn around and we're going to start losing our profits, so we get out. And on the downside, when the stock is going against you, we're programmed to hope that it'll stop going against us and turn around and start being profitable. And I'm telling you guys, I've been doing this for 18 years, and that's the majority of traders, and that's why a huge percentage of traders fail. So until you reverse that psychology in your head, and it takes practice, and it takes a changing of your mind, because what you want to do is to do just the opposite. You want, when stocks are going in your favor, to hope that they keep going in your favor. Almost hope in a confident sense, and just the opposite. When stocks are going against you, you want to fear they're going to keep going against you, and you're going to lose more money and just get out. It's a hard thing to do, but I'm telling you, I've seen so many traders blow up accounts because they cannot change that psychological part of trading, and it's a big hurdle, but get over it, and you'll make a lot of money. So anyway, that being said, I kind of like to take a look at just some of the examples of alerts that I've set. I'll take a look at some on the upside, and I'll take a look at some that didn't work, and I'm still down in them. But the first one I'm going to pull up here is Q. And this is alert I set back. You can see the green line. I set back on this level right here. Was watching it, and it popped through. And geez, lo and behold, let me scroll back a little bit more. I mean, just never any really pain in this one. It had what you call a go, pause, go day. It popped through, paused right there, and then just kept going. Pretty easy one to let, I shouldn't say easy because you got to get over that psychological part, but you know, to let work for you. And what I always like to do when I'm position trading is I always like to bang out some profits, maybe take half off, and then let the rest of it work for you. Another one I have on my list, Costco, and this was a no-brainer, and this was the sweetest little breakout right here. And you can see it here. Hold on. Let me, since I'm working off the daily, I'm not working on the intraday. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger for you guys. And there it was in Costco. You had a couple of tops right there, those wicks. Boom. Broke through that wick. Entry was 79.45. So, right, I think I cheated a little bit. No, not too much. And look at that, just boom, straight through, biggest volume bar it had in about a month, and you know, it hasn't looked back, tried to pull back a little bit there. But you know, once again, I'm looking at this, and boy, I tell you what, it looks like it might want to go to 170 because I think it wants to fulfill its mission there and maybe try to test this high over here. We'll see. But X is another one, a really good breakout right here. I set alert. Right, they had like 3 triple tops right here as it tried to move further. It could not do it, came back, horseshoed back around, gapped up and went through that level, had a pullback, came back and tested it, and now, but never really went negative. But the point guys, is I'm trying to make here is there's a lot of money to be made, you know, holding on to the stocks. And I know that you know, every market is not conducive to this type of action, but at the same time, there's stocks making moves like this, and no matter what kind of, you know, market. But there's one more I wanted to show you on the upside, and that was OPTT. And this is alert. I actually set above these wicks right here. Boom. Look at that, shot up on huge volume, and man, that's a huge move. That would be hard to hold on to. You see that kind of movement. Don't you agree, Jamie?
Of course, of course.
Yeah. Okay, now let's take a look at some of the losers because they're on here. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, while we're on that topic, looking at that crazy chart, you're talking about how it would not be easy to manage that trade. Well, yeah, looking at the chart or even being in that trade at the time that that price action was occurring, all of that can be negated simply by doing what you were talking about earlier, which is, yeah, we get caught up in talking about charts and good entries and all that stuff, but we always, you know, even people that have been around the block a few times, like myself and you, that have been sitting in the chair a very long time, we'll get caught up in the emotion and the greed. Demons will get us every once in a while, but even for us, it's easily remedied. You know, you get some crazy action like that, you're like, well, I might hate myself later on, but I'm dumping half of it, and I'm going to go ahead and set my price or my stop for, you know, break even or even up a little, and then just forget about it. You know, the stocks are going to do what they're going to do. We just have to remain methodical and, you know, go through the same motions every time, and try not to let the emotions or the greed demon get fed that day.
Absolutely, very, very good point. Very good point. And that's why I'm always, I'm always taking some off. But I can't tell you, I guarantee you, probably, you know, 90% of the momentum traders took profits on this first day. It was a great profit, if you got, a dollar out of it. But boy, look what you left on the table. If you didn't hold on, I mean, even 100, 200 shares. And yeah, watch Dan when he's in the chat room. He's really good. He's one of the best I've seen as far as taking a position and letting it work for him. And one thing I really wanted to point out, it just came to my mind as I was drawing these. Guys, when you're drawing these, making these alerts like I made in this one on OPTT right there, you're kind of doing it. You're totally non-emotional, and it's amazing how many of your alerts, your price alerts, will be the right ones, will be the right place to buy or sell a stock. When it comes down to it, if you hadn't made those alerts, you just saw it running, you probably wouldn't buy. Emotional get involved, but it's just saying, trust your instincts, trust your ability to place these alerts in the right place. And if you're placing them and you're seeing results like this, man, even if you just start doing it with 100 shares and just if you have the size enough account, buy 100 shares, forget about it, put a stop down for whatever $1, $2, or risk reward. That's something that's all relative, so I'm not going to tell you where to put your stop, but the point is try not to look at it and let it work for you. And what I normally do, if I take a position in it, I set an alert, boom. If it pulls back to my alert level, then I'll look at it. But because it's amazing, guys, if you'll start trusting your trading based on your ability to set these price alerts, when you start seeing results like that in your price alerts, it just tells me you're doing the right thing. And once again, I've used probably 8 different trading softwares. I've never seen price alerts so user-friendly. It's just amazing what these things would do. So, man, put them to work. And yeah, if you don't have premium, geez, think seriously about getting them, because these price alerts alone are gold. Not to mention the Holly and the AI.
Yeah,
But,
and
I said, yeah, go ahead.
With the price alerts, really what we've done is, whether you're a new trader, demo trading, what better way to demo trade, right? We don't need post-it notes anymore, right? So, one of the things that especially a new trader will do is they'll see something that's an interesting correlation that probably would serve them well in the future, but they won't write it down. Or even if you're paper trading the old way and writing things down, I mean, come on, we forget things, and then as humans, we conveniently forget things as well, right? So
Right.
setting these price alerts, since there's a column for, when the order was generated and when the order was actually executed, you're holding yourself accountable, all right? And so, after a week or two, and you look back and you're like, I'm up 8 points, 9 points, 10 points on these positions. I mean, what better way to give yourself confidence moving forward, And of course, the key there is you weren't worrying about those. You were just setting the prices and letting them work, just like you were describing right now. A lot of people, when they enter the day trading arena, they have these preconceived notions of, okay, well, if I'm going to make money every day, then I need to trade 3,000 shares or 1,000 shares, or whatever the share count is, when in all actuality, that's probably the worst thing that anybody could ever do. Maybe in the market of 20 years ago, it was still hard to even do 1,000 shares, right? So with liquidity being where it is today and how quickly things move, it's better to have 20 100 share positions and spread your risk out on a similar pattern than it is to have everything tied up in one single trade.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I used to trade with a guy like that. And I don't know how he did it, but it drove me crazy, because I've always been like a momentum trader. I might be in 10 stocks at a time or something like that. But I'd look over his blotter, the guy would be in like 80 stocks. I'm going like, man, how do you fall? But he just said, 1 or 200 shares. This was back in the heyday in the late 1990s, and oh yeah. And he would he would be in 80 positions and just kind of watching his blotter. But I tell you what, it's a different way to do things. But if you get to where you're setting those price alerts, right, you might, if you're having a hard time with the momentum trading and you feel like you're getting HFT'd and knocked around a lot and not trading the right stuff, you might want to give it a shot, especially if you're testing well on the price alerts that you've been putting in of late. And
Right, and
real
Andy,
quick, I'll go over some of the ones. Go ahead.
sorry about that.
Okay,
We
go
seem
ahead.
to have a little bit of a
No.
lag today. I was just going to add, simplification, right? And for
Hmm.
those of you who attended webinars in the past, we do, hit on this topic a lot. And really, to simplify your trading pattern, you need less components, less moving wheels. And that's why we have created what we affectionately term the Holly Trinity, right? It's only three parts, and it's relatively simple. First off, we have to have good information, which comes through one of our windows, whether that be an alert window, top list window, of price alerts, or Holly, who's just another high-quality information stream, albeit very unique. So we get our information from those windows. Then, as Steve likes to say, we look at the footprints in the sand to figure out what we need to do or do not do. And then if we come to the determination that it is what we need to act on, then we use our price alert windows so that we don't miss out on the action. So, high
Yep.
quality information, is it actionable? Yes. Okay. Then we use the price alert window to make sure we don't miss out on it. So it's a relatively simple methodology, and it's very repeatable. Doesn't matter if it's an up day, down day, sideways day, low volume day. There's always going to be something out there, and as you use the software day in, day out, months on end, you will notice correlations. Whether it's what we're teaching here, which is very repeatable, very methodical, but the more time you spend exposing yourself to this simple trinity of observance and action, then the more clearer it will become.
Yep. Absolutely. Very good points, Jamie. Um, yeah, somebody mentioned in there, Jeff, are HFTs usually not traded in the stocks and the price alerts? No, HFT can be traded anywhere, but they usually hang out in the very thick stocks that trade, uh, whatever 5 million plus, and especially your very big caps, your Microsoft, Cisco's, Intels. But if I'm position trading, I'm not worried about HFT because take for example Costco. Yeah, if I'm playing the daily, you know, geez, let me just put it in. Can't find it. If I'm playing the daily on Costco and I see this huge volume and breaking out, and I'm saying, okay, this is a major breakout, volume strong, boom, I'm buying it. I'm not worried about HFT yanking it down 30, 35 cents because on a big cap stock like this with a major move, more than likely I'm position trading, and I would probably give myself the lows of the day that day. So I'm not worried about high frequency trading. But to answer your question, yeah, HFT has nothing to do with price alerts. I mean, uh, it has to do with stocks. But anyway, moving on, I did say I would mention some of the ones that didn't work out, and sometimes uh, you place price alerts in a place. I think right here was the one on this MNRO. Said, man, I was thinking, well, if we can get above this level, it might have a nice push. Well, boom, it did have a nice push. Had a nice $3 or $4 move, and then boom, rolled, came right back over. So that's one. Data. Yeah, it took out this level right here finally. Boom, poked above it, never really got it, never really went anywhere, and slopped around, came right back down. Now it's lower. But the key is, see, I don't mind stuff like that because I'm giving it a chance. More than likely, it would have been stopped out on that little wick right there. But the key is, if I'm position trading, as long as I'm, not working draw my line in the sand, exit those, let the ones that are working move with me. Okay, that's about enough of price alerts because I did want to show you guys this market watcher. And like I said, this is one of my oldest alerts I've been using, and I still use it. It's a multi-strategy window, and this is it right here, and it's very simple. And a lot of times what I'll find out, I'll see them coming through here before I see them on Alpha Predator. And the reason that is, I'm looking for a volume of only 200%. But the reason I wanted to bring this up tonight, I remember when I did substitute for Barry in the chat room, a lot of people wanted this alert, and it's very simple. It's a multi-strategy showing up moves, explosive up moves, and explosive down moves, and you're going to see how simple it is, because basically all it is a 200% change in 5-minute volume, whereas the Alpha Predator is 400%. A lot of times I will catch them early in this one. Now you really have to, you're going to get a lot of false moves in this one, whereas Alpha Predator has more filters. It's looking for a better setups. This, all it is looking for explosive moves on volume. But that being said, I catch a lot of good stuff on here, and sometimes I catch it, before, like I said, Alpha Predator, because it's only seeking out 200% change in volume. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to go through all of the trades, but I am just going to throw this out there because I've used it for, like I said, it's one of my oldest alerts. I've been using it forever. And for those of you guys who want it, I'm going to put it in there. And if you don't, then so be it. That's fine too.
So Andy, there were some people asking if you could share your price alerts with them, and I just said, basically we'll do that at the end of the webinar. Andy will throw the cloud links into the chat area of GoToWebinar here, as well as we'll do the Alpha Predator too.
Yeah, and you know what? I haven't been setting a lot, but we will go over some too. We will go over some and set some in here. I think Jamie had a few, and if you want to start talking about that, while I put this in here. Let's see what I can't see. Marketplace.
Yeah. We've got about probably 5-10 more minutes of presentation time before we bring Scott back in. So just due to the conditions of the market, there's been a lot less of the trend change setups out there. What I noticed this morning is that every chart that I pulled up where there was high volume, it just seemed like everything ripped right off the open and then did an about face. So charts were pretty stretched out today. Doesn't make it real conducive to finding the nice little tight patterns that we look for in the trend change lubricant. However, since the market is up and away right now, a lot of the times the same type of basing pattern will form at different parts of the daily pattern. So let's see here, a couple of the ones that I was scoping out today, Andy. I'll just scroll through here.
You can just tell me, yeah.
And then you can look at them as well. So LCI, if we look at that on the daily and compress it somewhat, see how it's starting to.
It's got a little potential gap fill right there.
So I was thinking, if we want to cheat a little bit, use the top of that candle, the daily candle back from January 27th.
Right there. Yep.
Not necessarily the wick, but that little.
Well, if I cheat too much, it'll go off. So I just put it right there at the top.
Right, because it did pop through there today. So we see how it backed off today with that wick at the top. So maybe just the high of the day today would be a good entry.
Okay. I think I'm close enough. Yeah.
It would trigger though, wouldn't it? Let's see.
Yeah, but I put it at right around. Let's see. 32.32. And the high is 31.85.
Yeah,
okay, I tell you what. I'll
really.
I was thinking 32.02. The whole number there. I stuck one at 32.02. That's the whole number. Yeah. So
Well, yeah, we all know what happens around the whole numbers. There's a lot more excitement. Plus, another little caveat here is the short float, 31, about 31.3% of the float is short on the
Yeah,
LCI as well.
yeah, yeah. There you go.
We all know that that adds a little extra oomph to a good breakout. So taking a look at the trend change, I don't know. Tell me what you think about IMMU, immunomedics.
Hey, not bad.
Yeah,
Uh, Actually closed on highs too, didn't it? Pretty close. 284, and it did take out. 284 is at high, so you basically just got to stick it right in around two.
yeah. That candle
You
back
think we'll
on
probably go
June
to, do
17th.
you think it needs to clear three, or do you think you want to put it tighter than that?
I'm sorry, repeat that, Andy.
Do you want it to clear three, or do you actually just kind of want it to take out today's highs? Because that would be a 5-day high if it takes out 285.
Yeah, I think if we look at that candle back on the 17th of June, the high was 287, right?
I
Um,
got a high of 284 on that day on my chart, but
on June
oh
17th.
seven oh 17th of June. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So I'd say maybe I don't know. I wouldn't mind going 285, 284. Just a little cheat.
All right, it's in there. One I kind of got an eyeball on. I think I already have a little Chinese play. I like these little Chinese companies here. Watch this JMU. Just JMU, if it can get above this level of congestion. I think I've already have it in there as alert. It's around the 450 level. That'd be a key level. Uh, I mean, horrible looking daily, but I think if it can clear that level right there, could have a nice little move there. But
All right.
uh, I already got that in there. And I think there was another one. I think you told me. I think I wrote them down somewhere. Oh, didn't you like Grub?
Yeah, Grub was looking semi-decent.
Yeah.
Now, this is not your
Just base.
typical trend change pattern. This is,
No.
obviously basing out of there. And if we go back far enough, we can tell where the next little level of resistance might be.
Okay. You stick at the high of that bar, wouldn't you? Right there.
Right, right. But if we go back further, that chart, it pops back up, does it not, on
Right.
Grub?
Yeah. You can, but you're going to be chasing if you set one right way up here, don't you think? I mean, I'm not sure where you want to
Well,
set
I
the
was
alert.
talking about probably, let's see here. What were you thinking? I'm thinking if we take the high of the second.
I typically think you got a uh, nice little congestion after a big move on volume. I would say if it took out that high of 2 days ago, that would be my my guess.
All right, make it so.
39.50. Okay. And you're right. Looking back that other area, you're definitely going to have some congestion, but that's still a good ways. Still probably got another two or three
Right,
dollar move.
right. Because hey,
Yeah.
when we do see the voids and the gaps, we get all excited because we know what happens. Or if it's up against a big daily bar with a lot of room.
Hmm.
But a lot of the times they go. Even if you see these little stair-step days of congestion, a lot of times they just blow right through it. Just depends. It depends on the day, depends on a couple other things. But if you're in the money a tiny bit and it's working, and you keep ratcheting up that stop loss, that is what we do, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh, I will definitely let's see. Oh, I think Navarus you liked too, didn't you? You mentioned that to me, and that didn't look too bad. But it is a foreign stock, isn't it? An ADR.
Yeah, it's a little
Yeah,
choppy,
yeah, it is.
a little spotty.
And GIII you mentioned to me in our prep, and yeah, that's one. Boy, I don't know that huge volume down kind of scares me. Uh, that's kind of enter its own risk there. If it does get above this level, Yeah, that's a tough one for me.
Yeah,
Uh,
you know what? I mean, with stocks like that, where it's just kind of in no man's land right now. I mean,
yeah,
it's worth setting up sometimes a bracket just to alert you. Okay, is it breaking
sure.
above, breaking
Yeah,
below, where you can
there you
set
go.
one.
Set one down here in Lowe's, and set one down. You're right. Because you could get a pop if it pops through here. At least fill the gap right there.
Yeah, and the thing that we're doing here is we're mapping out things to watch. We're not committing to anything right now. We're just like, okay, this is
No,
worth taking a look at when this thing happens, right?
right. All right, guys. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to just send you all of my working. I'm going to be honest with you. I've been busy with business development with trade ideas lately, and not only that, when the market the spiders, uh, I when you get this kind of up move and you're trading close to highs like this, I kind of like to see a pullback and some digestion. Let the market set up again, and then I'll go in there and start putting more alerts in there. But I will share basically everything that I have in here. But you know it it's probably some old still quite a bit of stuff. I don't even know if I go that. I got that in there twice, but geez, that's a lot of alerts. I'm not sure you guys want them all. Should I share that many or just the ones we did? Jamie, I'll lose you.
Sorry, there goes my mute button
Oh,
malfunctioning
okay.
again.
No problem.
We'll
That's a
call
lot
it
of
user
alerts.
error.
That's a lot of.
Well, maybe go back 30 alerts, Andy, or 20.
Well,
Obviously, you
yeah,
don't wanna overwhelm people.
I'll definitely. How do you set these up on when you set them? Uh,
Oh, you mean the setting up the cloud save functionality?
well, like the ones we just did. Oh, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah. This sort by created. Do you have a created column in there?
trigger.
You've got triggered, but I don't see created. So if you go in there and add a created column, then you can sort by that column and go from the top down.
Gotcha.
Hey, and this is good for someone else to witness here. If you don't have a
You
created
say create.
column,
You say created. You you say creative. You talking about working?
no. Right click in the body of the right click, go to columns.
Ah,
Okay, now move created
learned
over there.
something new there. Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so now you have where's your created? It's over there on the right.
It's the ones we just did right here.
Right, but you see the header that says created over there
I've
on the
already
right.
done that. I thought I'd already did that. I
Right. So
already did
yeah,
that.
now you're sorted. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'll go all the way down here to JMU, and some of the ones are going to be triggered, uh, but anyway, is that going to screw things up? Can you
No.
go create it and then go? I know what to do. Then go just working, right?
Yeah, you can do that.
So there we go. Sorry guys, I'm getting this, and I will. Now why doesn't it have me a freaking date? Anyway, I'm going to throw these 11 in here, guys, and trust me, I will be updating and working more, creating these alerts. Like I said, after the market has moved as much as it has and going sideways, I kind of let it rest. So kind of, like I said, I want some backing and filling anyway, and let this market pull in. Then I'll start putting in more alerts. But anyway,
Okay. So
share
yeah, you want to go
these,
share. Correct.
copy all, and drop. And guys, I'm so sorry we did not able to get to more question and answer, but we are running out of time. Maybe the next webinar we will have more time to look at some charts. I really like to get people involved and take a look at some of the charts that they are looking at. But can we get to Alpha Predator? Eric, we kind of went over Alpha Predator.
Yeah, we're gonna drop Alpha Predator into the chat as well, right?
Okay, I will do that.
Yeah.
Okay, Alpha Predator. Copy and share.
Yeah, just drop that cloud link in there and
Oh, yeah.
everybody can grab it.
I'm not going to label it, guys. Just know that the last one is Alpha Predator. And with that being said, I am going to turn it back over to Scott with a parting message and maybe a little discount for you guys. We'll see
Yeah.
what he has up his sleeve.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. I think you can probably park it on, I forget what the slide number is, but the slide that has the product code.
Right there.
Yeah, slide 6 there.
Oh.
Yeah, and also I'd like to direct everyone's attention to the handout panel on your GoToWebinar interface. There's a little thing that says handouts. You just expand that. There's a PDF there for you to click into and download. Actually, I didn't put it in there. Let me do that real quick. All right, if you watch the handout panel on your GoToWebinar interface, you'll see a PDF pop right in there for you. You can download that. That also includes the information you see on the slide in front of you. We're a software as a service company, and our cores are subscription-based. So we have a standard subscription and a premium subscription. The standard is $888 a year. The premium is $1,888 per year. The premium includes, though, is the advanced features like Holly the AI, our backtesting tool, the odds maker, the price alerts, and all that good stuff that goes along with that access. You can get a 15% discount off your first month or first year of the premium service using that code you see there in orange, the studio, all caps, just like you see it. It is case sensitive. And you can use the same code to get 10% off your first month or year of the standard subscription. Again, you can download that PDF that now is in your handouts panel. It is just includes that and the contact page as well. So if you have any questions about this, just email us, info@trade-ideas.com, or you can contact us by phone if you have any billing questions. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/tradeideiaspro. We post some original content there. You can follow Jamie Hodge at QuantBot. You can follow Steve Gomez at Today Trader. These are Twitter addresses. Follow Dan Merkin at Trade Ideas 1 or at Trade Ideas. Thanks, everyone. There'll be a recording of this up later on this afternoon or tomorrow morning. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Scott.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Later.